Good morning. We have Ramey Associates again here. I got my partner Severio Martinez, 16
Hello.
years in the business, and I have Mark and Darci Richardson with CSMC.
I'm Mark, and Darci's not here right now.
Right?
Oh, you pay for that.
Over 25 years
25
lending
years.
experience. So quite a bit of experience here, and just wanted to share with you today some current things that are happening in the real estate market. Many buyers are seeing multiple offer situations, and there's a couple things that are causing that. One being the very low inventory that we're in. We're roughly around 2 months absorption rate, meaning 2 months inventory. If no new listings came on and everything sold, it would only take 2 months.
Wow.
And to put that in perspective, 6 months is a neutral market. So it is a seller's market, but we've been through a little bit of a transition with longer average days on market as well. So it's interesting to see what's happening since January 1st with these low interest rates.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's getting more and more buyers out there right now because they might not have been able to qualify 6 months to a year ago.
Right.
But with these lower interest rates, it's definitely more appealing. No question. No question at all.
Absolutely.
So they're starting to come out.
And I think that might be one of the reasons why the market hasn't slowed down, even though we don't have a lot of inventory out there.
Right.
But we do see multiple offers.
Uh-huh.
I think the interest rate has a lot to do with buyers being more motivated
Right.
to get out there and
Absolutely.
lock into a property.
Yeah, and in a market like this, when there is multiple offers, what's the best thing that a buyer can be? And that's ready to go.
Right.
Qualified, approved,
Uh-huh.
ready to go. When there's multiple offers,
Right.
you need some way to have your offers stand above the other ones.
Absolutely.
And so how do we do that?
Mhm.
We get pre-qualified,
Right. Get pre-qualified. And then some people have a house to sell and they're
Mhm.
looking to move up or move down. That's very common in this market as well. So how do you compete with that,
Yeah.
right? How do you compete with knowing that you have a home to sell versus another buyer who doesn't have a home to sell?
Mm-hmm.
Typically, there's a little bit less risk with that other buyer, right? So we're going to talk about contingent offers as well.
Sure.
In a multiple offer situation. And usually the very first two things that I share with that prospect, if they come in and speak to me about that, is one, we got to find out how much money are they going to walk away with from their home that they're selling, right? Once they know roughly, after all cost expenses of selling a home, what are they truly walking away with in equity?
Mhm.
Then they're going to know how much they can put down
Sure.
to figure out roughly,
Sure.
what type of payment they truly feel
Right.
comfortable
Part
with.
of that qualification process. Sometimes people always anticipate taking that lump sum, putting it all down on their purchase.
Right.
Well, do they need to put it all down? Maybe they can put part of it down, maybe pay some debt down, still in that same comfort zone, keeping their payment where they want it to be, but
Right.
they don't necessarily have to use all of it. They can if they want to, of course, spend a little bit more, buy a bigger house. But again, part of the analysis process.
Absolutely.
To make sure everything's dialed in while their home is listed. We evaluate all that for them so that when they sell quickly in this market and they go to buy a new house, we have our ducks in a row already.
Definitely. And I believe getting the right information is very important because that will make them feel more confident, more relaxed during the process.
Sure.
Because it's not that easy to sell your house and go buy another one when you have a family and there's a lot of things involved in it. And we as professionals, we need to make sure that our clients are comfortable.
Sure.
We'll do the transaction with them, explain everything to them to make sure that they understand everything and they're and that state of mind relaxed.
And comfort starts at the beginning, right? This is a relationship business. We want to know our clients. We want to know their goals. Why are they moving? Where do they want to move to?
Correct.
What's the process? Certain schools, maybe certain areas. But with that, you want to be confident also when you're writing an offer, knowing that there's not a question mark. If this offer is accepted, you're qualified. You can make it work.
Correct.
And that's where we get again all lined up. We know what we can qualify for. As a seller, if I'm the seller, and I think we're going to go there in a little bit,
Right.
as the seller, if your offer's given to them with other offers and you're already fully approved, that seller is more apt to listen to your offer. Take your offer possibly. There might be one a little bit higher, a little less down, a little more down, whatever the situation is. But if this seller knows that there's a complete package, your lender's provided the qualification letter, the underwriting, the credit report, the cash to close, a full package, not just a pre-qualification letter that's written on a piece of paper that really nobody knows anything about it.
Absolutely.
So again, preparation, comfortable with the people you're working with, knowing that you're being represented correctly, and that's part of the process. You submit an offer with branded in silver, It's with my loan, it's fully approved, ready to go, just like a cash offer, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yeah.
And I actually point those features out when I'm in a multiple offer situation of our track record. How many deals we've closed, how many transactions we've successfully closed, that this is gonna be a one-time process. Because what many sellers and buyers don't understand and realize that we have quite a few fall out of escrow here in Ventura County, quite a few, because of the challenges based on affordability with price. So the appraisal can be an issue. The other thing that can be an issue is in terms of negotiation for requests for repairs. As we mentioned, all-time low inventories, all-time low interest rates. So buyers feel strong, sellers feel strong because of the low inventory. So you have a lot of negotiation going on. You have a lot of high requests for repair demands at times. Is very common. So how do we navigate through a successful close, right? How do we prep that offer? So one of the questions I want to make sure we emphasize is, if you find yourself out there right now and you're looking at property and you're seeing multiple offer situations, the first question I wanted to ask is, Severio, what do you see as buyers jumping more towards where it's going to be a multiple offer situation? When you see a property on the MLS or you go preview a home, how do you know it's going to be a multiple offer situation? What are some of the factors that you're looking at?
Well, first of all, you gotta look at the location.
Okay.
Location is one of the prime things that buyers always look at. The condition of the home. Does it have new carpet or new floors or painting? Square footage.
Okay.
So I think those three things are pretty crucial to say this property is going to get multiple offers.
That's good. Good points. Any other factors that you would see that you've seen with your borrowers that when you see a particular property that's going to be a multiple offer situation? What do you feel are the
price range?
Yeah.
Right now, you guys would know this better than I would, but I would say anywhere between 400 and 600 is selling like that.
Right.
So, again, I keep going back to being prepared. If I know a house could be in a multiple offer situation between 400 and 600, if that's the price range you're in, you need to be ready to go.
Yep.
You need to have your I's dotted, T's crossed on your loan application, not just thinking about it, not just saying, okay, we were qualified online with this particular thing so they could afford this. An actual loan ready to go, fully approved. So when your offer is presented by Brandon and Silver, it's got an approval. It's got an approval stamp on it, says you're ready to go. The seller has less risk going with one of your offers than they do with going with somebody else.
Right.
Plus, a lot of times too, a lot of sellers, because obviously you guys know this, they will get offers. The agent will get an offer on a particular property. Might be a few offers. They want that particular buyer to cross-qualify with their lender just to make sure that's good to go.
And why would they do that?
Because maybe they don't know the lender.
The other
lender
loan officer.
Yeah, the buyer's loan officer coming in, they may not know who this is. It might be an online approval.
Right.
We don't know with an online approval, the approval is as good as what we put in there. We keyed in, okay, I'm approved. You want to go with somebody who's local, somebody who's been in the business a long time. A lot of times what happens with Darci and I, our buyers' offers will get accepted. We know so many of the realtors out here, and they're comfortable with working us. They know we close loans on time.
Right.
We're not going to put an offer in if we don't know that person can qualify. Right. I don't want to put an offer in, take this poor person's house off the market.
Right.
Not sure if this guy can buy a house. That's not fair. It's not the right thing to do.
Because they miss out on
exactly right.
The other.
And when you're saying properties fall out of escrow, that's another reason they fall out of escrow.
Absolutely.
Because the buyer hasn't been qualified. So you as a listing agent representing your sellers, making sure you're cross qualified. That's what we do too. But very often with Darci and I doing loans with buyers, a lot of times that listing agent normally would ask them to cross-qualify. But they see Mark and Darci on the qualification letter. Oh, they've been in business so long, we've worked with them 100 times. Good to go. Let's take that one.
Absolutely. Reputation and track record go a long ways in a multiple offer situation. Go ahead.
That is true, and it goes back to the comfortable level that I was talking about before. The seller in this case, he or she will be comfortable knowing that we are representing him or her and have a loan officer like you guys, you and Darci, getting a cross qualification for any buyer that comes in. And so with that being said, we take away the nervous or the uneasy
The anxiety.
anxiety
Yeah, it
from,
kind of goes
from-
away. Yeah.
correct, from our
Yeah.
seller.
Yeah,
Right.
Because
absolutely.
we are making sure
Yeah.
we are bulletproof in the transaction.
Sure.
So we're making sure that we're not gonna run into a problem later.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this all ties in exactly to when you're looking at a potential multiple offer situation, a couple other factors I would add to it. How soon did it hit the market,
Mhm.
right? So if it's a brand new property in that $400,000 to $600,000 price range,
Mhm.
and I'd actually in Camarillo I'd say up to 650.
Okay.
6 to 650 is still a hot price range. It seems
Correct.
like most buyers that are looking to purchase here, for a detached home in Camarillo, the lowest one right now, there's actually a 2-bedroom at 560.
Wow.
560,000 2-bedroom.
That's right.
That's on the market right now. For a 3-bedroom, 579 is the lowest detached property, roughly about 1,400 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Yard needs some work. It's in a good location in Camarillo. But you're looking the very bottom of the market's almost 600,000 right now for a detached home. Now, if you're looking at townhouses, you still find some in the 4s, typically 2 bedrooms,
Mhm.
3 bedrooms. There's less than a handful that are under, and usually they have a high HOA.
Yeah.
Their HOA is typically 400 or more. So different things that you see. So when we know these factors, and we see a home that just hits the market, and it shows well, like Saverio was saying earlier, it's got that HGTV feel to it. You got the grays and the whites, and you got the new modern. I mean, literally sometimes that's all they'll have. They'll
Right.
still have single pane windows, but because it's got the gray and whites, we know it's going to be a multiple offer situation.
Yeah.
And if it's priced well, buyers are very resourceful, right?
Yeah.
They have access to all the data and information that's out there. So with that being said, if a home is overpriced by 5%, or let's just say 10, 15,000, I've seen it overpriced for as little as $5,000 sit on the market. Right now, you're not going to see it as much, but you will see it throughout the year as you look through 2020, as we see a little bit more inventory and the longer days on market. So that days on market is critical.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for an opportunity that you're trying to move in, and it's like, this is that wow house, move in ready, be ready for a multiple offer situation. If it's priced well, be ready for that to happen. If you're looking for the property that is more, you can put a little bit of elbow grease into it and maybe negotiate some of the terms on it, you want to look at the days on market.
Correct.
See that it's been on the market for quite some time. See a property that's probably fallen out of escrow once or twice.
Mhm.
And then what your agent should do is they should reach out to that listing agent and find out, okay, I see that you're in escrow, what happened? Share with me what happened. I don't want to waste my client's time,
Right.
money, energy,
Right.
if there's a huge challenge that we can't overcome. So communication is critical. And so what I want to also get into is when the eyes of coming from the listing agent and the seller, what are we looking for when we see a multiple offer situation? So what would you say? You have a multiple offer situation, all the prices, let's just say, are the same. So we're not counting price as a factor. They're all the exact same offer, but you got 5 different offers. What are some of the features you're looking for, Saverio?
I'm looking for, first of all, a stronger reputation on the lender side.
Okay,
I want to know who's doing the loan, and if I know that person,
right,
then I'm okay with it. But when we don't have that, I think that's the first thing I look at. Who's the lender?
who's doing the loan?
Yeah.
Right,
That will be one of the things that I always look for when I have multiple offers.
right,
The other one will be how they presented the offer, the presentation of the offer.
right,
How did it come in? Their agent, they actually did the homework and put everything in writing in there and cover all the stuff that they need to be covered in the offer.
Mhm.
Not only that, but also the approval, proof of funds.
Mhm.
If they have a good package, like Mark said,
right,
it's solid. To me, it's a solid offer.
Right. I guess it all comes down to what's in your client's best interest.
right,
You're representing the seller.
Mhm.
You might have offers that are $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 apart.
right,
Doesn't mean the highest one's the best one.
absolutely,
Right.
Great point.
Yeah, it could be the lowest one's the best one. It could be any of them, but it's all about that. How's it presented? How do you feel about? Is it going to close? I guess that's the key.
Yeah, that's
Is
the
this
bottom line.
particular offer that's $10,000 lower than the other one that has question marks? Is this going to close? Are they going to be able to close it in the 30 days like we need, or the 45 days like we need? Are there contingencies? Are there not contingencies? Do we have the proof of funds? Are the credit scores sufficient for this type of loan? A good loan package will give you the credit scores, give you the cash to close, give you the approval. So yeah, it's I guess it all comes back for all of us, all three of us. What's the best thing for my client?
Right.
Yep.
And key points that both Mark and Severio brought up is, how is that packaged, right? How is the offer presented? How is it communicated to the listing agent?
Correct.
Did the agent even make a phone call after submitting the offer? Many times we get multiple offer situations, we won't hear a phone call, we don't get a text, we don't get an email. It's almost like we're working with somebody who's scared of their own shadow. Wow. And won't make a call. It happens.
You know what we do? We call the listing agent sometimes.
Could.
You know, I'll do the pre-qual for your buyers.
Right.
I'll call the listing agent. Do you have any questions on the buyer?
Right.
Right.
And one of the things I'll do, because I know that is your territory for the last 25 years, right? Is, and actually I'll have Mark on my side typically, but what we'll want to do is, if I know that other loan officer and I still want to vet them and cross-qualify them because it's a multiple offer, I'll have that loan officer speak to Mark.
Sure.
And then when they speak to Mark, Mark knows what questions to ask on that application. He knows what to do in terms of vetting. Right. Okay, I see, something about tax transcripts,
sure,
right? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
So it's important to put the right people who are in their specialty in communication together to make sure that we're vetting, because as Mark brought up earlier, that if we take this offer, right, that seller now is locked into escrow, that buyer is actually in control. And the reason for that, the reason why the contract's built that way, is because the buyer's taking all the risk. They're taking on, the seller's gonna cash out and move on to their next step.
Right.
The buyer's gonna inherit everything with that home, whether it's got repairs, whether it's got issues, whatever it has. So that contract is built to protect you as a buyer, so you can do your due diligence, get proper disclosures, and then if you don't like what you're getting, then you have plenty of time to try to get out of the transaction and be protected through that process.
Appraisal is part of that process, get the property appraised, all that stuff. Yeah.
So it's critical as a buyer now that you, when you see the right opportunity and you know this is the gotta have house, that you give yourself every chance possible, but you do your best, you put your best foot forward to try to lock that offer up. Because once they accept your offer, you have an official acceptance, the best a seller can do in most situations, there's always a few exceptions, but on your standard transaction, right, where somebody's selling their home, they don't have a home of choice contingency, that's the caveat, and there's a few other situations. But typically, the best they can do is take a backup offer.
Right.
So when the backup position offer, and we can talk about that a little bit more in the future, but all that does is it just puts a little bit of pressure on that first buyer to make sure that they're performing, because if they do pull out, now that second backup offer has the first right to move into that property without having to worry about another multiple offer situation. So just some kind of strategy and key points. Do you want to talk a little bit about the difference between it? So you're a buyer and you get a single counteroffer back. What does that mean versus a multiple counter?
Well, single counteroffer is just yourself. Okay, so you're not competing with anybody else.
Right.
A lot of times people do take their own time and to respond and everything, and they even respond with a counteroffer to a counteroffer.
Right.
Okay. But when you have a multiple counteroffers, your time is limited.
Right.
Because now you have the pressure of other buyers waiting and make a move really quick. And if you don't move quick, you might just lose the deal.
Right.
So,
on a multiple.
Yeah.
So another thing I'd like to add on the multiple. So let's just say, okay, offer at $500,000, right? Severio, let's say Severio is the buyer's agent. I'm the listing agent. Severio sends me an offer at $500,000.
Am I the lender?
You're the lender. Actually, you're cross-qualifying for me.
I just want to know if I'm in here.
He's working with some internet lender, and we're going to counter back on there to cross-qualify with Mark Richardson, Mark and Darci Richardson with CSMC, right? Because I want to make sure it's an internet lender, and the reason why you got to be concerned with that is sometimes they have like processing centers where you don't even know who it is that you're speaking with.
Correct.
The file can end up in anybody's hand at any point in time. So you can imagine how difficult that can be when we got earnest money on the line, and we haven't even got into earnest money. But earnest money could be 3% of the purchase price, so $15,000, $20,000 on the line. And if we don't have a great communication and great relationship here, am I going to risk $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for my client on some interest rate that seems really good, and I don't know if they can truly get the job done? It puts us in a very tough position to be able to protect our clients when they make that decision. You know, so yeah. So the key with the multiple and single, if we do this, and this is if we're just doing the single offer, so he writes an offer at 5, I counter back at 525, right? And just say there's a couple ways Severio can handle this, but let's just say he says yes and accepts it. He can accept it, he can counter it back, or he can reject it. Those are his 3 options. If he says yes and accepts it and delivers it to me, it's his house. He's locked it in. So I talk about having the power to lock something in. And so, you know, what I'll advise my client is, look, you can counter it. If you do counter it, what that does is that actually rejects the original offer. And now I don't have that power to lock it up anymore. So when I send that counter back, now I put it on the other side. So if he sends the counter to me and I'm the seller, now I can accept it, I can counter it, I can take my time in responding. And while we're doing this back and forth, guess what happens? Next offer comes in. And they know there's an offer on the table. They may not know the terms, but they know there's an offer on the table and that we're countering. So that next offer that comes in typically comes in over asking price or higher than we're even negotiating. Now he lost the power to lock that up because this other offer came in. So in terms of timing with the single, I emphasize to my clients on a single counter offer, hey, look, if you can handle that payment, lock it up. Lock it up. Don't send a counter back. You send that counter back. We got ways of protecting and negotiating through escrow. But our goal as a good buyer's agent, a strong buyer's agent, is to lock that up, get them into escrow, and then now we can do our due diligence and check and see what's out there. Multiple offer, just to separate it, if he sends it and he signs that multiple at 525, yet there's 2 or 3 others that also got the same counter at 525, and Severio's the first to send it back. Then the other 2 agents send theirs back. Who gets the house?
I did.
You don't.
No.
But he's just doing that just for this video demonstration right now. It's up to the seller to decide. It's not based on who sends it first. First shows urgency, right? Shows that they're committed. So that he'll get bonus points. I'm going to say, look, Severio got it in first. They want the house. These other 2 over here took an extra day or 2 days. Maybe they're getting their loan together. Maybe they're still not sure. Maybe they're checking out other houses. So he's got the best shot by being the first to respond. There's an advantage to that. But I, as the seller in a multiple offer, have to sign it a second time. I sign it the first time when I send it. Then the buyer signs it saying they accept it, or they can counter it, which isn't usually a good idea to do in a multiple offer situation, right? And then if I sign off and accept it and send it to him, it's his house. But I get the final say. If all 3 send it in exactly, right away, then I get to look at all 3, and my seller gets to make that final decision. So I just wanted to emphasize the difference between
one thing I want to jump in on those too, as the lender side of it too. A lot of times, Brandon or Silver would put in their counteroffer that the buyer needs to cross qualify with me. So in a multiple counteroffer situation, I'm going to look at all 3 of those buyers, all 4 of those buyers, to verify which one can actually close that loan. It might be all 4 of them. Maybe that's wonderful. All 4 are well qualified. Maybe a couple of them have question marks. We're not sure about it. How well are they approved? So that's part of the multiple counteroffer situation too. As the lender, we want to make sure that the seller is represented.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and have you done it where you've looked at just certain documents? Just say that buyer is just hesitant to cross qualify. In certain situations, if the agent's got a good reputation, loan officer's got a good reputation.
Definitely a case by case. Definitely a case by case.
And sometimes a phone call could be sufficient.
Exactly right. If I've worked with a lender a bunch of times, I know who they are, I know their reputation, like you're saying. And I ask some key questions. If I get the right answers, I'm okay.
What are some of the key questions, if you don't mind?
Credit scores.
Okay.
Did you run their credit? How long have they been on their job?
Okay.
A lot of times we'll just ask what's their income, but they might have just got the job yesterday. Or what type of work is it? Maybe they just became self-employed, whole different qualification process. And not necessarily the answer to the question, but how it's answered. If I'm comfortable in that lender knows the answers, oh, you know what, I'm not really sure, Mark, let me check it out. bing, I have an issue.
Right.
You know, he should know that off the top of his head, or her off the top of her head.
Correct.
So yeah, there's certain things that come up, and if I am questioning, I will talk to the agent that I'm working with and say, I'm going to go the next step with that person.
Right.
I need that lender to either one, send me the entire package, or allow me to talk to the borrower.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want to talk to the borrower. I don't want to rock the boat too much, make them go through that. So again, that's a case by case also.
Right.
But many times I've represented a buyer, I'm doing a loan for a buyer, and I've had to send the paperwork for cross qualification. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm confident in my work, so I'm not really worried about it. As long as the buyer's okay with it, I get their approval. Can I send this paperwork over to this other lenders because they want to make sure you can do this? It's very rare because I've been doing this a long time, but they will evaluate the process too. And I don't do it with on the cross quals to take the buyer.
Right.
They've got a relationship with this person. I'm not there to take the buyer. I'm there to make sure that the seller is taking the right offer.
You're actually taking care of the listing agent.
Exactly right.
Because there's things that you know and understand that most real estate agents don't.
Right.
Because they haven't
That's
practiced.
not what you do.
Exactly. We specialize in trying to get your offer locked in.
Right.
Right. Trying to make sure your offer gets accepted. And that's where Severio talked about how the offer is presented matters.
Yeah.
Right. How do we package that together? Proof of funds could just be a summary statement. Cross out the name, or not the name, the account number, right? So that we know where the name's coming from.
Well, I've seen some of them with no name on.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right.
Whose account is that?
We want to match the name with the amount of money to see that they truly have it, and how recent was it,
Sure.
and who's it coming from?
Yeah,
which could be a
was
sign
it just
if it's a
recently
gift,
deposited?
right?
It could be a gift, a whole another can of worms.
Sourcing it, and so forth. So all great things. And I think that's pretty good. Is there anything else you want to add on the multiple offers?
Yeah, I think it's very important that we as professionals educate our buyer.
Right.
First of all, to let them know that we're possibly going to be in a multiple counteroffer. Secondly, that the seller is actually requesting that my buyer get cross-qualified with Mark.
Right.
Or you know,
or
whoever they're working with.
Right.
I think it's important that we educate our buyers and say, don't worry about this. This is a process that we have to go through it.
Right.
A lot of times, I think buyers get nervous because their agent didn't tell them, didn't educate them that this is the process that we're gonna have to go through in order to
tell them that in advance is huge.
There's no cost or obligation to work with the loan officer that is pre-qualifying. There are certain situations where the loan officer can look at it and see and just say, wow, you know, I got this program available.
Way better loan.
Just so you know that it is available, and sometimes a borrower could feel good about it, but that's not our goal.
Right.
Our goal is to make sure that you're solid, you can close the deal and get it done.
Correct.
So, great points that you made there, Severio, because it's all about education. That's our goal here.
Yep.
Educate the public as much as we can.
Absolutely.
So that you're in the driver's seat, you're in control, you know what questions to ask, you're a loan officer, you're a real estate agent. It's not about just hiring us. We'd be more than happy to represent you and take care of you through the process. And we have many clients that hundreds of clients that, I mean, between the three of us, that we've all successfully helped, whether sell their home or buy their home. And it matters. It makes a big difference. But more than anything, this is here to educate you and educate the public so that you know what questions to ask, you're aware, and then you can protect yourself and your future investment.
Your money.
Yeah, your money.
And I guarantee there's more questions.
Yep. So if you want to just share your phone number for now,
you can call us at you can call me at 805-233-2347. Call me, text message is fine too.
Right. And you also speak Spanish as well.
Correcto. También hablo español y voy a dar una llamada en español que aquí estamos para ayudarle.
Awesome. Or you can call Mark and Darci Richardson for your financing needs. The number is 805-304-5626. It's 805-304-LOAN. Easy enough to remember.
Okay, and these two are definitely your top choice, but if they're not available and they don't pick up the phone, then you can call me.
Which won't happen.
At 805-815-1327. And thank you again for your time today. And
thanks for listening.
Yeah, I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.
Thank you.